Right. Well, you're an interesting guy, and we met, a couple of years ago now. But I love the fact that you've got literally your hands in so many different sort of wine pots.
Yes.
Physically as well. But winemaker, right? Wine critic, wine journalist, Well, you've covered so many different things.
Wine tragic, I think, covers the best. Yeah, I sort of I've always had this belief in, I think, everything I've done that I studied architecture, for example, and when I was a student I was on the national board of the institute, and I always want to know the full picture. And so with wine it's the same thing. I think the fact that I make wine means that when I go to write about wine, I not only understand all of the technique and the technology and all the scientific part, but you also understand the sort of the heart. You understand how difficult it is to make a great wine. You understand the commitment and what's involved. So I'm a big believer in the whole picture, even if you just work in a tiny part of it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The thing that I wanted to talk to you about was something that I come across a lot. Not me personally, because I love my wine and I sort of understand a little bit about it. But women generally have an intimidation around a wine list, right? You go to a restaurant and someone sort of hands you the wine list and you go, no, that's okay, I'll just hand it to somebody else. Or they'll sort of say, look, I'll just have a Sauvignon Blanc because that's apparently what everyone's drinking at the moment. There's an insecurity around it.
Yeah.
Where do you think that's born from?
Well, it's something. It's an historic thing, I think, that it's born from. And I certainly, before I started writing about wine, I worked as a sommelier. So I was the guy in the restaurant that was handing the wine list out. And you'd walk up to a table of 2 or 4 or 6, and generally you're always taught. You look around for the alpha.
For the bloke.
For the bloke.
Yeah.
But I've always, I think, and a part of my personal style, and I do a lot of presenting and talking, educating, is to sort of try and break the sort of mystique in a way without spoiling the story, and that's very much about the whole man woman thing as well, and I think that there is a big job to be done to sort of demystify wine and to undo a lot of the things that have been built up, and that whole man always gets the wine list sort of thing is one of those things that needs to be sort of pulled apart and rethought.
Yeah.
And I think for the large part that's all happening, and happening really quite quickly as well. Like I do a lot of masterclasses and a lot of presentations, and the audience, it's generally at food and wine festivals. 5 years ago even, it used to be all blokes, and now it's probably more women than men that are in the audience, and very engaged, not afraid to ask questions or to find out. There's a real sort of thirst. So I think it's game on. I think it's changing.
Yeah, it's good.